Hello, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Sandra, and this is my space where I basically sew things that you can easily sew too. So today I want to make a matching skirt to go with this top here that I made. My idea is to make a mini skirt with a ruffle at the bottom. So I've made this skirt minus the ruffle before, and essentially I'm just going to recreate that. This tutorial is going to be more like talking you through what I'm doing, but my pattern is very simple. This is definitely like beginner friendly. Let's start with my pattern. It's basically two rectangle pieces. One that is, this piece is going to be twice as long as this, and this piece is essentially going to be making the ruffle. I'm just basically now going to take a couple of measurements so that I can cut out my fabric. So with measurements, I want to measure my hips, and my hip measurement, let's say, is about 44 inches. So I want the mini skirt to reach here, and then I want the ruffle to make up the rest of the length. This is about 12. And then to this measurement, okay, I'm going to add 3 inches to factor in my waistband. So we said my waist was 44. To 44, I am going to add 8 inches. It's going to make up this length. And then for here, I had my 12, and I'm going to add 3 inches for the waistband and just for seam allowance, which makes it 12 inches. I want my skirt to be quite short. So for my ruffle, I think I'm going to cut out this fabric about 6 inches long. So to factor in seam allowance, I'm going to make it 7 inches. So 7 inches for this width, and then this is going to be twice the length of this. So let's say I'm going to make it like 100 inches. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and cut out the fabric to make this. I'm actually really excited. I have a feeling it's going to turn out really nice. So let's get into it and cut out our fabric with these measurements. So I'm going to join these two pieces to make the ruffle, and then this is the main skirt bit, which now matches my measurements. I am going to focus on the ruffle section of the skirt first. So I'm basically just going to attach these two panels together. I'm just going to do a straight stitch to join them. Next, I am going to overlock the edge of this fabric so that my fabric doesn't fray. I'm also going to do the same for this other big panel. My pieces are basically ready for sewing. I'm going to start off by adding ruffles using a basting stitch to this long panel of fabric. After that, I'm going to attach it to this piece. I'm going to be doing a basting stitch on one side of this long panel. Now for the basting stitch, I'm on a straight stitch, and I'm using the longest length on my sewing machine. For me, this is a 4. I'm going to do 2 basting stitches all the way down. I'm going to do one here and then another one next to it about here. And with a basting stitch, you don't do a back stitch. Right under it. Essentially, I want to shorten this long panel to be the same length as this other panel that I have, and to fit at the bottom. Pull the strings that you made. It takes a little bit of time. Now take your time, otherwise the strings will snap. But because we did a long stitch, it just means the stitching is not super tight, and you can essentially just like move and rouge the fabric. And you're going to do this all along until this panel is the same length as this piece. Present day Sandra here. I lost audio, so you're just going to have a voice over from me. Basically what I did is once it was long enough, I attached it to the main piece of the skirt with pins. And then after this, on my machine, I just sewed those two sides together on a straight stitch setting. And this is how it looks. I'm so excited about it in this shot. And essentially, I now hem the bottom of the skirt by doing a small fold all the way down to make it nice and neat. And then I make a fold at the top for my waistband. I wish I'd actually done this step last, but I talk about it later on. And then I attach the two sides of the skirt together, and I actually overlock this, these two sides together. This is me cutting out the waistband that I need for the skirt. I'm back with my present day audio. I'm going to be adding this band onto the skirt. Now, with the band, I'm using a really thick band just because I think it looks nicer. You really need to make sure that this band, when it stretches out for as much as the entirety of this waistband. Otherwise, it's not going to look good for the next steps that we're doing. I was basically saying that I kind of made a little mistake where I should have done the fold at the top last so that I could loop the elastic all the way through. At the moment, I can't loop it all the way through because I sewed these two sides together here. But it's fine. I'm gonna just insert my elastic. I can't find my loop turner, so I am going to push this through with a safety pin. Just gonna pull it all the way through. So the waistband is now in, and you can stop at this point if you want, but I feel like the next step just makes the skirt look a little bit more professional. Essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna sew 2 stitches across the band, and as we're sewing, we're going to pull the back and the front as we sew, and making sure that this elastic is nice and straight. So sew all around the band, and as you sew, you just keep this stretched out as tight as possible. 1 stitch here and then 1 stitch there. And then I'm going to sew another straight stitch right next to it, and I've got my machine at the longest stitch, which on my machine is a 4. I am finally finished making the skirt. I am so happy with how it came out. It is exactly what I had pictured in mind when I started off this project. I also love how it looks with this matching top that I made for it. I do have a sewing tutorial for this on my channel as well. No pattern needed, everything is freehand. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you try and make this skirt, let me know how it goes. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Bye!